I've watched this team every snap this year. This is like the first game I've missed this season. And I don't really need to watch this game to understand what happened against the Chargers. And this is my main takeaway from that game. I don't think one offseason can offset the garbage that is the Dallas Cowboys defense. Like, they are bad. Statistically right now, they are last or second to last in total defense, passing defense, and scoring defense. And the LA Chargers, a team that has struggled offensively all year, the last couple of weeks, because Justin Herbert has been playing with a broken hand, left hand. He's got it bandaged up, looking like he's got a robot arm to a certain degree. Lost both of his tackles. Your first-round draft pick, Joe Alt. Then your all-pro Pro Bowl other tackle, Rashawn Slater, blew his leg out before the season started. So you're without your best tackles. That is probably the most important position for a quarterback on the offensive line. You're without that. And offensively, let's be honest, the last couple weeks, the Chargers have not played well. And Sunday, the Chargers looked like the 2019 Chiefs with Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Andy Reid as the play caller, and Patrick Mahomes. Like, if you turn the tape on, go back and see that team with Sammy Watkins as well. Look at that team and look at what the Chargers had on the field Sunday and how they played. You would see the resemblance. Like, they were able to do whatever they wanted to do on the football field Sunday. Quentin Johnson, a guy who has been relatively quiet the last couple of weeks, he had a breakout game, just out there just catching passes on everybody. Keenan Allen, same thing. Ladd McConkey, he's a stud, makes some plays. Amarian Hampton, they ran the ball decent. But they gave up 3 touchdowns in a row in the first half. And the thing that has been crazy with the Dallas Cowboys defense is, and this is kind of the overarching theme with the Dallas Cowboys as a football team. For some reason, they find themselves giving up historic type numbers in one phase of the game. Like, offensively, they could let a defensive team play their historical best, or vice versa. Defensively, they can let the opposing offense play historically great. They didn't sack Justin Herbert, which is the first time that has happened this season. Justin Herbert has been sacked every single game this season. The one game he was not sacked, the Dallas Cowboys was the team he was playing against. What about scoring? I think this is the first time this season the Chargers have scored 3 touchdowns in a row. I think I remember seeing that stat somewhere. Do not fully quote me on that. I'm just thinking when I'm talking. I think there was a stat that a Cowboys beat writer jotted down that letting up 3 first half touchdowns, that's the first time that's ever happened for the Chargers this season. And they got bullied in both phases. They got bullied in the run game. They got bullied defensively at the cornerback spot. I saw a stat where between Shavon Ravel and Trayvon Diggs, Justin Herbert was like 11 for 12. Multiple touchdown passes and hundreds of yards. They were out there playing pitch and catch against the defense. And I'm going to say it again. I know people on the internet, people who cover the Dallas Cowboys, they want to point the finger at this group. But this is another week where I cannot do that. I don't care. There's nothing you can do to convince me that for the last couple of weeks on this losing streak, that the Dallas Cowboys' offense is a reason why they didn't win the game. If you go back to the Lions game, if you go back to last week against the Vikings on Sunday Night Football, and if you go back to the game they played on Sunday, you cannot turn the game on and tell me that the Dallas Cowboys offense is the reason why they lost the game. The Dallas Cowboys kept up with the Chargers in the first half. It was 17-21 going into halftime. Your defense gave up 3 straight touchdowns. At this point in the season, and I thought about this, it has to be psychologically demoralizing to know as an offense that you have to be perfect. Do you know how it feels? Dak Prescott, Ceedee Lamb, George Pickens on the bench. You go down and score a touchdown drive. just to know 6 plays later, the other team's already scored. You don't even have time to sit down, make some adjustments, and just, take a rest, make some of the adjustments that you might need to go out there and make another touchdown pass. Before you blink an eye, you already having to go back on the field and try and score again. Don't you think that has to be psychologically demoralizing if you're that offensive unit? The pressure and the weight on your shoulders to know when you get the ball, it's like, man, if we don't score, we lost the game. Like, if you don't score touchdowns, you lose. I think the Chargers punted once on Sunday. And I can't even remember when it was. That is what the Dallas Cowboys offense has had to do. And I've seen people on Twitter just talking about Brian Schottenheimer's play calling and this and this and that. Guys, like, in some world, you have to be a good football team across the board. Like, there are going to be games where the defense might not have it that day, and the offense is going to have to pick up the slack. And even vice versa. There might be games where the offense might not have its best day, but the defense has to step up and rise to the occasion. That's called playing complementary football. That is the litmus test to let you know if you are worthy of being a contending football team or not. The case of the Dallas Cowboys has been all year. There's not been one aspect, not one time, not one, where the Dallas Cowboys offensively has had to say that we did not play well enough and the defense has uplifted us and gave us a chance to win. That has not happened one time this year. It has been the exact opposite. The Dallas Cowboys have been garbage defensively, and the offense has had to find a way to lift them up out of the fire. You can do that for a couple of games in an NFL season, but you can't do it every single game. It's not a recipe for winning football. And I'm sick and tired of people blaming Brian Schottenheimer. Like, guys, do we not know that Brian Schottenheimer so far across the media, I know maybe not Cowboys media beat writers because they watch this team every week, but I tend to agree with the mass media. Like, can we just go with the idea that Brian Schottenheimer has been a phenomenal play caller? Like, offensively, they're top 5 in every category. They've had a phenomenal run game that they haven't had in a couple years. They've had a great passing attack. Both of their wide receivers are over 1,000 yards. They have a 1,000-yard rushing running back. And their quarterback if his team was winning, would be in the MVP conversation. That is what Brian Schottenheimer has done on the offensive side of the football. But yet, people are trying to point blame and trying to find a reason. Well, they didn't get this. I don't like this play call on 4th down. And I'm talking about the play with handing the ball off to the middle of the field with Hunter Luepke. Or I've seen, like, man, this red zone offense, it sucks. Like, we're kicking field goals. Field goals get you beat. But can we start pointing the finger at the front office who put this team together? Yes, you put together a phenomenal defense. You've drafted stars. And I talked about this last week. But when you look across the defensive side of the ball, you don't have players. Yes, Matt Eberflus is part of the problem. If you watch this game, there's no way, absolutely no way that you bring this guy back next season. I don't care. I've heard Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones talk about continuity going into your next season. But guys, you have to understand, bad coaching, bad players. Bad system, bad players. Not good players. I sat there and watched the 49ers last night. They are out there playing with their second and third string guys. And I promise you, every single one of those players at each position can go out there and start for the Dallas Cowboys right now. It is abysmal, the job that Jerry Jones and that front office has done evaluating players. If we go back to the 2023 draft class, which I'll discuss this at a later date, like that draft class can literally put this franchise back years because they reached for players and they have not produced. That has been their overarching theme these last couple drafts. Like, they are reaching for players, wanting them to develop over time. No, we need, get right now players. Look at what the Eagles did. You drafted Quinyon Mitchell, the best player. Cooper DeJean, who was a first-round talent, you drafted him, and now he just made the Pro Bowl, and he could probably be an All-Pro. The Dallas Cowboys have been drafting these guys just hoping and thinking they will develop over time. No, we're at a time in the NFL now. You got to draft now. You have to draft guys who are capable of playing well right now. I think in the last draft, Tyler Booker, he's going to be a stud. As a Raku, get him another year under his belt, he will be pretty good as well. But this coming up draft, like, they need players everywhere. Let's transition. Pickens made plays. He played well. He had over 100 yards. Ceedee played well. Ran the ball pretty decent offensively. They just didn't execute. But I'm tired of picking up the blame on the offense. This stat, pretty demoralizing. The Dallas Cowboys is the only team since 2010 to not make the championship game in the NFC. And their drought of not making it to the NFC Championship has lasted now approximately 30 years. And this is kind of like the overarching question of this topic. When are the Cowboys going to learn that something has to change? When? Are the Cowboys ever going to learn that doing the same thing over and over leads to disaster? Jerry Jones has been the GM for 35 years. He got 3 Super Bowls out of that time. But ever since 1995, they have not made it to the NFC Championship game. Yes, Jerry Jones has put together some great teams. But at some point, something's got to give. I saw a stat last night that this will be the first time this season that the Cowboys offense has been this well, and they're going to have a losing record. I looked across the chart. With the offensive numbers that the Cowboys had, there was 12 wins, 13 wins, 11 wins. This team is about to have no more than 8 wins. And I think they're not even going to get 8. I think they might get 7. Hopefully they stay at 6 so we can get a higher draft pick. But that is the type of conversation that the Dallas Cowboys have found them in. And you traded away your best defensive player. And unless those 2 draft picks that you get, unless you nail free agency, that idea and what you did might turn out to backfire in the long run. Something's got to give. The process and the way of organizing your team has to change. Change helps offset negative things. You would think that the idea of having a 30-year drought would cause this front office, even 10 years, you kind of just have to sit in the mirror and ask yourself, like, you know what? It wouldn't be a bad idea to just change some things, just to see if it might work, get myself over the hump. You know, how about let's just change the idea of not letting the Cowboys be this billionaire cash cow team, all about the fancy lights and stuff. How about let's just build a football team worried about winning? Let's cut out, there's the argument, Ceedee Lamb and Dak, they've talked about it, how you have tours going on when people's in there weightlifting. Like, we're trying to weightlift and lift weights, and I look across, there's people with me taking pictures while I'm over there bitch pressing, and I can't concentrate on my workout. Like, there's so many distractions. Can we, cut the distractions out and worry about winning? No. Jerry Jones, the money's still coming in either way. I tell everyone, and I will harp on this again. As long as Jerry Jones is the owner, he doesn't care about winning. His money is getting printed every week. His money's coming in. Unless that regime is gone, nothing's going to change. That's it. I don't even want to talk about them anymore. I'm going to discuss the Chargers just a little bit. And what I thought about when I was writing up my show, I was like, what a job Jim Harbaugh has done. To have a shot at the number 1 seed. I saw sources report this, that the Chargers have a shot at the number 1 seed in the AFC. Having a shot at number 1 seed with this roster is remarkable. As I stated earlier, losing both of your tackles, one of the most important positions when building a football team, losing those guys, and you haven't played well on offense, but you've created a culture, you're gritty, you make the plays that you need to make in order to win football games, and you have yourself an opportunity at the number 1 seed. And, Justin Herbert is a stud. It wouldn't surprise me if Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert are going to find themselves hosting or even being a part of a AFC championship game in the future. And when you think of from a roster standpoint, as I was alluding to a while ago, it feels like they are a receiver away and a healthy roster away right now from being the Super Bowl favorites. You have the quarterback. If you had the healthy tackles, You have a phenomenal defense across the board, and I think they're just missing a wide receiver. No shame. I think Ladd McConkey is a stud, but you got Keenan Allen. He's not going to be there for the foreseeable future. And Quentin Johnson, like, he's hit or miss. If you can draft a stud wide receiver, like, they will be great. And that's why I'm saying roster-wise, it's just impressive because you don't have a good run game. And a lot of this has to do with Greg Roman, which I think Jim Harbaugh should move on from. I think he needs to get with the times with that. Jim Harbaugh's created identity. He wants to run the ball, play good defense. He's playing good defense, but he can't run the ball and he can't even pass the ball. Like, the offense is pretty garbage to a certain degree. Granted, they play the Dallas Cowboys, but the Dallas Cowboys will make anybody look like the greatest show on turf. Let's just be totally honest. So I just really sit back and really marvel. Same thing with Kyle Shanahan. Like, sometimes you just tip your cap to what coaches are doing in the NFL with what they are given. And Jim Harbaugh is really overachieving with the type of roster that he has across the board.